You're listening to HackFit Highlights, cybersecurity stories you can understand in 15 minutes. Hi, I'm Jenny, and I represent CMIT Solutions of Southwest Jax, a local IT managed services provider for small to mid-sized businesses in and around Southwest Jax. Welcome to our channel. Let's not reinvent the wheel. Today's workout is brought to you by Derby.com. It's an amazing free resource loaded with tons of workouts and tools to help you get started on your fitness journey. This site only runs on donations. Otherwise, you pay nothing. I've worked in information technology in a variety of industries for a long time. Back then, to me, when networks or servers fail, the worst that would happen was operations would halt for a little while, maybe sales would miss a couple of warm opportunities, or maybe marketing missed a few new leads or tracking of a few potential conversions. But now, in this increasingly interconnected world, our livelihood and operations grow more and more vulnerable to cyber threats. And the potential damage from being down for a few minutes to a few days becomes much more detrimental. This rings particularly true for industries within what's called the critical infrastructure, such as energy, communications, transportation, and of course, healthcare. If you take nothing else from this podcast, never listen to another episode, I hope you take away some information around our subject for today: the first alleged death resulting from a cyber attack. While many researchers bring up other cases of a death resulting from a cyber attack, this one is a common repeat and worth knowing and understanding. Bottom line up front, on September 10, 2020, the victim was a 78-year-old female at the University Hospital of Dusseldorf with a life-threatening condition. Upon arrival at her usual hospital, she couldn't receive her treatments due to outages. This led to a 32-kilometer reroute to another hospital, and that was enough delay to lead to her death. The method of attack was via exploitation of a well-known vulnerability in a Citrix application. Many of you may use Citrix if you work from home or in general tech support roles. It's a way to remotely access another computer. When you call a tech support company, for example, they may request to remote access your computer, and they can do so through tools like Citrix and act like the equivalent of sitting in your chair, moving, deleting, and downloading files as if they were you. Sounds like a lot of power and capabilities from afar, right? And you're right. Now, the hospital was a user, a client, or a customer of Citrix. This kind of cyber attack becomes categorized as a third-party vulnerability, which is the most common case you'll hear about. An important thing to note about third-party vulnerabilities, it means that there were not one, but at least two entities who lacked appropriate protections against a threat: the hospital and Citrix in this case. This means the hospital had the opportunity to protect itself against the risk using a vulnerable version of Citrix software. The situation also turned into a ransomware situation. Ransomware is not a specific method of attack, but it involves stolen and encrypted data. The ransom is required to get the data decrypted and returned. Think of it as like, I'm your little brother, and I've stolen the key to your diary, and unless you give me your lunch money, I'm going to spread the diary, pages of the diary, all over school. Even if the data is recovered, or in this case, my diary, data integrity is still a big question. Was anything in the diary kept? Were copies made and sold and spread? Is anything in my diary missing or fake? Another similar case that precedes this story is actually much closer to home. Just 1 year prior, in July 2019, a cyber attack may have led to the death of an infant at Spring Hill Medical Center in Mobile, Alabama. The infant was born July 2019 and died not long after from severe brain trauma from the birth process in April 2020. According to the lawsuit, Spring Hill Medical Center was struggling with a cyber attack when she went in to deliver her daughter, and doctors and nurses were unable to run a number of key tests that would have shown that the umbilical cord was wrapped around the baby's neck, leading to severe brain damage and death 9 months later. Some sources say that the head nurse admitted via text to a coworker that had she known about the umbilical cord from standard tests, she would have done a C-section instead. The lawsuit is due to a lack of disclosure on their situation. Had Tirani Kid known that hackers had attacked the hospital, she would have chosen to deliver her baby elsewhere. This is why it matters. There are increasing attacks on hospitals and healthcare institutions, but this doesn't mean hospitals and healthcare facilities themselves are the problem. These stories also demonstrate how it's good for healthcare facilities, big and small, to have backup plans, a rigid cybersecurity plan, incident disclosure processes for client awareness, and also rely on their networks to send critical patients to nearby facilities in case of emergencies. Citrix, networks, everyone is connected. There are now less than 6 degrees of separation to everything. Is each piece protecting itself and others? What are you doing to protect yourself and those around you? Hopefully, listening to podcasts like this one is your first step in the right direction in being more informed. We looked at a small picture situation today, so next episode, we're going to talk big picture. I'm talking global. Is it a conspiracy theory? Maybe, but I think it's worth you knowing about. If you haven't heard about the infamous global economics concept, BRICS, B-R-I-C-S, in terms of cybersecurity, find out more on Episode 2, Cyber War, and Are We in One? I'm Jenny with CMIT Solutions in Jacksonville, Florida. If you want to learn more, follow us on Twitter at CMITSWJax. Thanks for listening, and I hope this was helpful.